As we continue the series in the long anticipation for the 40th anniversary of WrestleMania, up next is WrestleMania XII. It took place on March 31, 1996 at the Arrowhead Pond of Anaheim in front of 18,853 fans with a 290,000 pay-per-view buy. The show was hosted by Vince McMahon and Jerry Lawler with Mr. Perfect, Todd Pettengil and Doc Hendrix at interviews. With no celebrities, the show had two free-for-all matches, a first for a WrestleMania that let fans watch these matches for free. It had 6 matches for the pay-per-view portion of the event, with the main event being the hour-long Iron Man match between WWF Champion Bret the Hitman Hart versus Shawn Michaels. The event itself could be best described as a turd sandwich. The Iron Man match would have been epic if you actually had pinfalls and submissions going back and forth, leading to a winner. While the Undertaker versus Diesel made sense, there was nothing so memorable about the event. Even when Piper beat Goldust, the Intercontinental Championship didn't even change hands. O.J. Simpson was once thought of being part of the Backlot Brawl, but that didn't happen. The Ultimate Warrior's return was a dud. What's worse is the tag titles was reduced to a free-for-all. This after a long tournament that was held since February. Also, the free-for-all had the Huckster in a geriatric match with the Nacho Man, which were parodies of Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage and were a waste of time. This WrestleMania shouldn't even exist, and even though Shawn Michaels won the WWF title, we wouldn't waste our time watching it ever again. We attempt to make a longer, more worthwhile alternate card that would make it rewatchable. There is no Huckster or Nacho Man here. Free for all. Mark Marrow versus Dr. Isaac Yankem in a singles match. We would offer just one match for free by debuting Mark Marrow and showcasing his capabilities. Sable would also be his valet. Mark Marrow lands the Wild Thing finisher for the win and cuts a great post-match promo where he is interrupted by Hunter Hearst Helmsley, who gets into a brawl with him. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Savio Vega in a singles match. We would make this the opening match and with Austin winning by the $1 Million Dream finisher. However, he refuses to let go here. Ted DiBiase, his manager, tries to stop him, but Austin shoves him and puts on the hold again, resulting in WWF officials coming in to stop him. DiBiase takes his $1 Million belt and leaves. Austin continues on till officials finally break the hold to get some heat on Austin. Something he needed that night. Ahmed Johnson versus the British Bulldog in a singles match. Two powerhouses clash in a match, with Johnson landing his Pearl River Plunge finisher to win the match. The Bodydonnas versus the Godwins in the finals for the vacant WWF Tag Team Championships. Sunny flashes her skirt on the apron to confuse Phineas, giving Skip a roll-up for the Bodydonnas to win the WWF Tag titles. Vader versus Yokozuna in a singles match. While Yokozuna at this point was limited in ability, we would have Vader dominate the match and injuring Yokozuna's legs, with the referee ending the match much like their original April Raw confrontation. Yokozuna is taken out on a forklift. Vader demands a WWF title shot. Goldust, C. versus Jake the Snake Roberts for the WWF Intercontinental Championship. Instead of the Backlot Brawl, we set up Goldust and Jake since Razor was unable to work with Goldust. Jake makes religious remarks against Goldust's Hollywood perversions, while Goldust plays mind games with the Master of Mind Games. Marlena joins with Jake as she desires to confess her sins. Jake teaches her of his faith, making her reborn again. Marlena betrays Jake at WrestleMania, breaking his heart as Goldust lands the Shattered Dreams for the win. The Ultimate Warrior versus Owen Hart in a singles match. Owen hears about Warrior's WWF return since 1992, desires to be the first one to face him, believing he'll retire him in a match. Instead of a squash, Owen is able to carry Warrior throughout the match for a good 10 minutes, making him look good in the process. Owen jumps the top rope only for Warrior to catch him and lift him up for the Gorilla Press and Splash for the win. The Undertaker versus Diesel in a casket match. Instead of a singles match, we would make it a casket match, with The Undertaker going over after a tombstone and tossing Diesel into the casket. This would mesh well with Diesel seeing his own body in a casket on Raw, as though it was destined to be. Bret the Hitman Hart, C. versus Shawn Michaels for the WWF Championship in a 2 out of 3 falls match with Roddy Piper as special guest referee. No DQ, countouts, or time limits. There is no Jose Lothario. He was only interviewed once on Raw as Shawn's mentor. Bret would get the first fall after getting Shawn into a roll-up after being thrown into a turnbuckle he had exposed at 2 minutes in. Shawn gets in a second fall at 12 minutes in with the Leo Burke finish, the same finish Davey Boy used to pin Bret at SummerSlam '92. This enrages Bret, who is now on the offensive. Bret manages to get in the sharpshooter twice, but is unable to make Shawn submit. Bret, in frustration, starts to use a chair in the ring against Shawn and gets a bit of heat for it. Shawn struggles till he reverses an Irish whip for a super kick, and lands a second one for the pinfall win to become the new WWF Champion at 21 minutes in. What did you think of this card? Stay tuned for WrestleMania 13. Comment, like, subscribe, and thank you for watching In the Plot.